Well, that's a very good question. There's been a very bizarre sort of interregnum over the last 48 to 72 hours, really, since the referendum results on Sunday night, where you've had virtually nothing from Madrid, and actually a kind of holding pattern, really, from the pro-secession bloc inside the Catalan parliament here. Basically, they can't actually go towards a formal announcement that they're going to try for independence until they formally ratify the referendum outcome and say it's official. And they haven't done that yet. And nor can they actually do this, we think, without going through a full parliamentary session. And there isn't one scheduled for today. And so it seems to me that this silence may actually be because there's some back-channel work going on, potentially by people inside the European Union, trying to say to Madrid in particular, look, you've got to try and sort this out. You know, because if they do it, then your democracy is fractured, and it would also fracture the European Union. And they've said violence isn't the way, so negotiate. But Madrid doesn't want to negotiate because it sees this as a legal rather than a political issue. And I think the reason why the Catalans seem to be holding out at the moment and not formally announcing is because they're trying to wait to see if they can actually get any movement from Madrid. So what we're going to have today is the pro-independence bloc meeting at the moment. That started about 10 minutes ago. The president, Puigdemont, is supposed to speak in 2 hours' time at midday. What's he going to say? Again, unclear, but it was announced in Madrid this morning that the head of the Catalan police is being investigated for sedition for his part in the referendum, and at the very least we expect Puigdemont to denounce that. But I don't think he's actually going to, it's unlikely, at least I think, that he can make any major announcement about what he thinks is going to happen towards independence.
The Madrid government has maintained this line that any attempt by the Catalonians to move on independence is illegitimate, and they've come under criticism for the way the police handled that referendum vote. Is there a risk there that they may be alienating more people in Catalonia and moving them towards independence?
Well, they possibly, though I don't really think so. I think people made their minds up. I mean, the one thing that everybody here agrees on is that the police action on Sunday was an absolute outrage, and that's a view shared very widely in the outside world too. But it doesn't. I don't think it's necessarily changed hearts and minds about independence. People are either fervent believers or they're a bit frightened of the prospect because they don't know what the outcome might be. What I think the problem, to the first point of your question about Madrid, is that, you know, it's all very well for the European Union to say, look, you need to negotiate politically, but Madrid says, well, it's the Constitution. You can't break up Spain because it's in the Constitution and therefore it's a legal matter, and so there's nothing to negotiate. That explains why the King said last night, you know, it's unity or nothing. You can't have it both ways. And so in that sense, Madrid's got itself boxed in now, you know, because of the actions of the police. They're under a great deal of pressure to negotiate, but they say they can't because it would break the Constitution.
All right, Lawrence Lee, live for us there in Barcelona. Thank you. Now, a top U.S. general has accused Pakistan's main spy agency of links with armed groups. Islamabad has denied that claim, and U.S. Defense Secretary James Mattis told the Senate Washington will again try to work with Pakistan before taking what he called punitive action. Osama bin Javed reports.
These are some of the Taliban fighters a 39-member alliance has been trying to defeat since 2001. Donald Trump is the third president who's come up with another new strategy to win the war in Afghanistan. His defense secretary and Joint Chiefs chairman have appeared in public hearings before the Senate and House Armed Services committees to explain their strategy shift. And once again, U.S. officials say Pakistan is among the reasons they have failed.
It's clear to me that the ISI has connections with terrorist groups. And if I could just follow up on something Secretary Mattis said, I think over the last several years, we've had a bilateral approach to trying to affect the change in Pakistan's behavior.
Islamabad says the latest round of accusations are absurd. The CIA paid Pakistan millions of dollars to set up the fighters in Afghanistan in the 1970s. Pakistan has also played a role in US-led efforts to mediate between the Taliban and the Afghan government. And the State Department has reiterated that the only solution is a political one.
Focus on not just Afghanistan, but also India, and then also incorporating Pakistan into that is sort of a regional approach. The key element of that is eventually getting Afghans to talk to Afghans. And that would certainly include the Taliban, getting them to talk to one another.